Hi guys and welcome to Autumnal Premier League. Let's analyze with Tom Williams the 9th match day of the Premier League, and we have very good games. We have Mourinho against Guardiola and we have Liverpool, Leicester City. And remember, if you leave a comment in the video, you get the chance to win a £10 free bet with Novibet. Also, if you like the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to our channel. And now let's go on with the show. Let's analyze the 9th match day of the Premier League with Tom Williams. Hello, Tom.
Hi, Eduardo.
And what a weekend we have ahead of us. Really good games in the Premier League to enjoy again the the English Championship after the international break. And the first stop is in the north in St James's Park with Newcastle Chelsea. Tom, Chelsea is really informed. We've been talking about their defensive problems, but actually right now they are not conceding, only one goal conceded in the last 6 games. Newcastle is kind of a roller coaster. They can win, they can lose, they can do everything. And here Chelsea is really favorite actually, even if they play on the road. Odds are 1.52. Do you think they should win this one?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like you say, Chelsea's form has been really impressive the last few weeks. They've tightened up at the back, which had been a big issue under Frank Lampard last season. And they're scoring lots of goals as well. 3-0 away at Burnley in their last away trip, and then 4-1 at home to Sheffield United in the last game before the international break. They've got all their new signings in the team now. Hakim Ziyech has come in and looks fantastic. And then Newcastle, as you say, very hard to predict. They've had some decent results this season. They've beaten Burnley and Everton at home, so they're no pushovers, but at the same time, they are a team who give you a lot of chances. Looking at potential bets, I wonder whether Chelsea to win both halves might be worth looking at. They've been up at half-time in each of their last 4 matches in all competitions, and given the attacking threat they pose and Newcastle's defensive porousness, that might be worth looking at, and you can get odds of 3.75 on Chelsea winning both halves on Oddspedia.
That's good, because the odds for the Chelsea victory, I mentioned it before, are 1.52, so we have to bet on Asian handicap -1 for Chelsea. That means that they have to win for 2 goals. To win our bet there, we find odds are 1.95, and given the fact that Chelsea is not conceding lately, maybe it's good to look at the market under 2.5 goals. This can happen easily, I think. And we have odds 2.38, so it's another options that the bettors can have for this game in St James's Park. And the next one is Aston Villa Brighton. I thought Aston Villa was gonna go down after the 2 defeats, but they bounced back incredibly in the last game at the Emirates with Watkins scoring twice. They are now on the 6th position in the table, and they face Brighton on the bottom of the table. You always say that Brighton has less points than what they deserve, and actually, Tom, the odds here for the victory of Aston Villa, something I guess is very likely, we can expect that, is 2.30, so that's very appealing, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, Aston Villa, one of the surprise packages of the season, and they continue to surprise us. I mean, they had those successive home defeats against Leeds and against Southampton, and we wondered whether the wheels might be coming off, and then they go and win 3-0 at Arsenal. Incredible performance. Brighton, whose form has been poor, who have really struggled to get wins on the board. I think Villa, having lost those last 2 home games, might give you pause when looking at this match, but I think something that might play into their hands is that Brighton are a team who like to have the ball. Brighton average the 6th highest possession stats in the Premier League this season, 53.9% of possession in their matches, and Villa are a team who don't mind not having the ball. They've shown in home games against teams like Liverpool, away at Leicester, away at Arsenal, they can actually be a really effective counter-attacking team. So I think if Brighton have a lot of the ball, I don't think that'll be too problematic for Villa. So yeah, I think a Villa win is a decent bet here.
All right, I said it, odds 2.3, so quite appealing. And we travel to London. We have a huge game ahead of us. Mourinho versus Guardiola is always really interesting. Tottenham versus Man City, and especially now that the Spurs are really in form for victories out of the last 5 games. And Manchester City, they drew against Liverpool in the biggest game before the international break. And surprisingly, Tom, they are struggling to score goals, only 1 goal in each of the last 5 games. That's really strange for Pep Guardiola's team. Who do you think here is gonna win? Difficult to predict actually, but Man City is crazy favorite. Probably the odds are very low. It's 1.88 for Man City.
Yeah, I agree. It's a hard one to call, this one, because obviously we know what a dangerous team City can be, and they're getting players back from injury. Sergio Aguero, Gabriel Jesus. Not sure that they're all going to be fit for the trip to North London on Saturday, but City are looking a bit more like their fans would want them to look like, with all their best players available. But their form has been patchy. You look at the last 5 in the league, narrow wins against Arsenal and Sheffield United, and then draws against Leeds, West Ham, and last time out at home to Liverpool. Spurs, who made a fantastic start to the season, as you say, 4 wins out of the last 5 in the league, 7 unbeaten in the league, and with that front pairing of Son and Harry Kane now being joined by Gareth Bale, they look a really potent team. I'm going to sit squarely on the fence on this one. I always think that when you get these big head-to-heads, the most likely outcome is a 1-1 draw, and you can get odds of 8.5 on this one. So if I was having a flutter, I think that's the sort of bet that would probably catch my eye.
Another good one I would say here, because the bookies expect goals, and we already said that Man City is struggling surprisingly to score goals. Tottenham are keeping also the score under 2.5 goals is paid 2.43. That could be appealing, and because Man City odds are really, really low to win, the double chance for Tottenham, so if they win or they draw, you win your bet. Your bet is 2.11. So all these options, if you think it's gonna be a very close game that Tottenham might get something, are really good for our viewers. And a very difficult team to predict as well is Man United. They play at home against West Bromwich Albion. In normal days, we would say that this is an easy victory for the Red Devils, but they had 2 defeats in a row against Arsenal and in the Champions League in Istanbul, and they came back surprisingly against Everton with a great victory, 1-3. Here again, Tom, odds are very low for Man United. They should win, but maybe we should see another market to find the higher odds and give some value.
Yeah, United, so hard to predict this season, still without a home league win, which is incredible given that we're getting towards late November. They've lost at home to Spurs, that incredible 6-1 defeat at the start of the season. They've lost at home to Arsenal, and West Brom are no pushovers. They haven't got many points on the board, but they have improved in recent weeks. They're not letting many goals in. They almost held out for a draw at home to Spurs last time out and conceded that Harry Kane header right at the end of the game. So I don't think United will have it all their own way here, even if they showed in that game at Everton what they can do when things click, and particularly when Bruno Fernandes is on his game with 2 goals and assist for him at Goodison Park. So assuming that it might take United a bit of time to break West Brom down, I wonder whether a half-time draw, full-time home win bet might be worth looking at. You can get odds of 4.3 on that on Oddspedia. And I think if United have to work to break West Brom down, as Spurs had to last time out, that might be a decent bet.
I'm gonna give you another option you might like. If you think Man United is or West Brom is gonna keep the game very tight, probably until the end, we have Asian handicap plus 1.5 for West Brom with odds 1.95. So if West Brom draws or loses or win the game, we win our bet, and even we win our bet if they lose the game only for 1 goal. So we have many options to win the bet if we back West Bromwich Asian handicap plus 1.5. And the next one, we go on Sunday games to Craven Cottage, Fulham, Everton. Everton, we already mentioned the previous weeks the impressive start of the season, but now 4 games winless, 3 consecutive defeats. The last one, I said it before, against Man United. Do you think they can bounce back at Craven Cottage? Probably it's a good stadium actually to do so.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, Everton's form has completely tailed off the last few weeks. They look like unlikely title challengers, and now they're struggling to hold on to their place at the top of the table. Fulham have been up and down. Similar to West Brom, they have improved in the last few weeks. They're letting few goals in. They were very unlucky last time out against West Ham, conceded a late goal, squandered a stoppage time penalty, that crazy Panenka attempt from Ademola Lookman that I think Fulham fans will probably take a little bit of time to forgive and forget. So, you know, Fulham aren't easy opponents, but I tend to think that the tide will turn for Everton at some point. They do have so much quality in their ranks. Richarlison's back from suspension for this one, and he's such an important player for them down that left-hand side. So I'll be backing Everton to get back to winning ways in this one. And yeah, an Everton win 1.93 or thereabouts on Oddspedia.
Yeah, it's quite appealing, those odds. So we marked an Everton victory here. And well, Fulham lost in the very last minute against West Ham, and West Ham is traveling to Sheffield to face Sheffield United. We are seeing the worst team so far in the Premier League with only 1 point. And West Ham, they are also one of these roller coaster teams that either they can do it very well or pretty bad, but actually I'm surprised the recent form of the Hammers is quite decent, and the odds actually for David Moyes' men victory here is 2.65. I don't know if you fancy that, Tom?
Yeah, I think I'd be backing West Ham here. As you said, Sheffield United have had an awful start to the season. They've really struggled for goals. They've only got 1 point on the board, and West Ham, as you say, up and down, sometimes really impressive, other times less impressive, but they've come through this really difficult run of games. They played Spurs, City and Liverpool in consecutive games, snatched a draw at Spurs coming back from behind late on in the game, drew at home to City and then lost narrowly at Liverpool. And now they're getting into a run of games where they'll expect to pick up points. I expect them to pick up points at Sheffield United, but I think they'll have to work for it. Sheffield United aren't pushovers. All the teams that have gone to Bramall Lane and won this season have had to really tough it out. Often it's been late goals, narrow margins. So a West Ham win by 1-0, you can get odds of 8.5 on that outcome on Oddspedia. And I think it's going to be that sort of close game that West Ham might just nick.
Those are really high odds. Even if you just fancy the West Ham victory, for instance, 2.65, a little bit more cautious, and it's also pretty good odds, I would say, for something that it should happen. And in Elland Road, we have Leeds Arsenal. What to say about Arsenal? I thought actually that this one was going to be finally a good season for them. But even in the last game was even worse when they got defeated by Aston Villa 0-3. 3 defeats in the last 4 games. So the Gunners' form is pretty bad. And we saw how Aubameyang, for instance, was having problems in this international break, sleeping at the airport when they travel in Africa. And Tom, is not easy to win at Leeds, although the form also of Bielsa's men is going down. 1 victory in the last 5 games.
Yeah, Arsenal are at the lowest ebb of Mikel Arteta's fledgling tenure. They looked like they were perhaps getting things in order with that win away at Manchester United, but then losing 3-0 at home to Villa, at a defeat that they entirely deserved given how they performed in that game. And I think for the first time, Arsenal supporters are asking questions of Arteta and wondering whether their confidence in him might be slightly misplaced. Elland Road, a really difficult place to go. You know it's going to be a full frontal assault. Marcelo Bielsa's team propose challenges that no other team in the division proposes. But at the same time, they're not unbeatable at home. You know, we've seen them beaten by Wolves, beaten heavily by Leicester. So, you know, there are ways of getting one over on them at Ellen Road. And as you say, their form is disappointing. They're going into this game on the back of two consecutive 4-1 defeats at home to Leicester and away at Palace. So two teams quite, you know, potentially a bit low on confidence. I find this one a hard one to call. I think a draw might not be a bad bet, and you can get odds of 3.95 on that on Oddspedia.
I agree. I don't know also if you tend to think that this is going to be a game with a lot of goals. We have over 2.5, 1.74. That could be also an option, given, as you said, how Leeds are an attacking team and their last results.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think when you get two teams who have had a run of bad games, it's always hard to know how they're going to respond. But yeah, I mean, one thing you get with Leeds is you get open matches. The way that they play guarantees open matches, basically. You know, they do leave a lot of space. They attack in a very courageous, very risky manner. So I think if you're betting on goals in a Leeds game, there's always a reason for doing that.
And the next one, also, I expect many goals, because we are going to see the best game in the weekend, Liverpool-Leicester City. Liverpool third so far in the table, and they draw against Man City, but actually they are in really, really good form. They are really sharp, with Mo Salah still in his best. And what to say about Leicester City? They arrived to this game in the first position, 6 consecutive wins for the Foxes, and they won all 4 games away, including the Etihad and the Emirates. Maybe they put also the tick mark at Anfield this season.
Yeah, well, we've got the team with the best home form in the league in Liverpool against the team with the joint best away form in the league in Leicester. And as you say, a team who've already had some very eye-catching away wins against Manchester City and Arsenal. Liverpool, of course, are dealing with this incredible injury crisis. No Virgil van Dijk, no Joe Gomez. Looks like Trent Alexander-Arnold's going to be out as well. Mo Salah's just been struck down by COVID-19. There are doubts over Andy Robertson and Fabinho and Jordan Henderson. So this is not anything like a full-strength Liverpool. Leicester fans would say, well, look, we've had plenty of injury problems ourselves, so it's not a full-strength Leicester either. The tendency when you've got lots of players missing is to imagine that the game will be a little bit more open than it would be ordinarily. So I think we'll see goals at Anfield. And I know that you can get odds of 2.2 on both teams scoring. And I think given the fact both teams really pack a punch in an attacking sense and are missing key players in defensive areas, I think that might be worth having a look at.
It's very tricky to go to the outright market for everything you say. It's very difficult to trust either Liverpool or Leicester, even over 2.5 goals. The odds are only 1.65, so this is very difficult to call. And on Monday we have Burnley Crystal Palace. Burnley also at the bottom of the table, no victories for them, and only 3 goals scored so far in the Premier League. Actually, they failed to score in the last 4 games, so really poor form for them. And Crystal Palace, I think they are doing pretty well, and the last game they won 4-1 to Leeds. Also, these kind of teams that are very difficult to predict, but the odds are really balanced here. Actually, we have good odds, Tom, for the Crystal Palace victory.
Yeah, I think given Burnley's difficulties in front of goal this season, as you say, haven't scored in their last 4 matches, that suggests that Palace didn't have too many problems keeping them out. And we know that Palace are a very effective team when they play away from home. So how about a Palace win to 0? And you can get odds of 4.5 on that on Oddspedia.
Okay, quite high. Again, if you also only fancy Crystal Palace, the odds are around 3, so it's also a good option. And the last game we have this weekend, or in this case is on Monday, Wolverhampton, Southampton. Two teams actually in form. Wolverhampton is 9th in the table with 13 points, but only 1 defeat in the last 5 games. And Southampton, they are doing an amazing campaign. They are in Champions League positions and 5 victories in the last 6 games. This one, I think, Tom, is also a very one, really difficult to call one.
Yeah, I find it very hard to predict a winner here. As you say, Southampton's form has been excellent since they got over a slightly disappointing start to the season. 3 wins on the spin, at home to Everton, away at Villa, 2 of the informed teams in the division, and then at home to Newcastle last time out. But then Wolves have also been impressive. They lost away to Leicester in their last game before the international break, but prior to that they looked pretty solid. 2 teams who are very well organised, who tend not to give up too many chances, so I don't think it'll be an absolute goal fest, and I think I'm going to sit on the fence here as well and hang my hat on a draw.
Yeah, here I pencil actually the bet under 2.5 goals, 1.73, because again, as you mentioned, it's very difficult to call for a winner, and probably it's going to be a very low scoreboard at Wolverhampton ground. So we've analyzed every single game in this 9th match day of the Premier League. The only thing missing now, Tom, is your accumulator for the week.
So my ACCA selection for this week is Chelsea, Aston Villa, Manchester United and Everton.
All right, and then that gives us odds 7.52. So if you bet 10 euros, for instance, you can get 70.52 euros. Not bad at all. So thank you very much, Tom, again for analyzing with us the Premier League.
My pleasure. See you next time.
See you. Tom thinks Man United is gonna win, but it's difficult to predict what is gonna happen at White Hart Lane or Anfield. Let me know what you think in the comment section. You will have the chance to win a £10 free bet with Novibet. And remember, if you enjoyed the video, press the like button, subscribe to our channel, and do not forget to click on the bell to get all the notifications. You can also listen to all our videos in our podcast. We will be back next week with more information about the Premier League.